to show you how to set up the Trinity Cipher in TradingView. So go to TradingView and to add an indicator, I'm just going to type in Trinity Ultimate Cipher, and it's going to be this one here that you need to select. And this is what it looks like in the default settings. And I'm going to explain the different aspects of the indicator. So you can see that we're getting the bullish trend and bearish trend signals. But if you don't need to see these actual signals, you can disable that. So I'm just going to show you how to optimize some of the settings. So go along to the little gear icon, click it. And because I really don't need to see bullish trend and bearish trends, I can just look at the ATR trend. I'm going to go all the way down, and it's going to come here, show super trend. And if you hover over that, actually, sorry, my bad, it's show signals. And here I'll actually give you a description and tell you what it actually does. But it's a little bit weird. You need to actually disable this twice. So you need to disable it here. Then go into style. Don't know why that's coming up. Okay, go into style. And also disable pane labels. There we go. See, that's disabled now. Essentially, what you're getting is, and actually I'm just going to show you as well. We're going to disable the T3. I'm going to do this one at a time. So the first thing that you've actually got on the indicator is this is an ATR super trend. And this ATR super trend is set to an ATR of 1. So essentially what that means is when the candles go over the ATR of 1, it'll change to either bullish or bearish. So just bear that in mind. But essentially that's what that super trend actually is. It's a ATR of 1. And you can actually change it and adjust it as well to make it as sensitive as you want to. And how you go ahead and adjust it is just down here. So you can see here it's got a factor of 1, but if I wanted to change that ATR value to 2, there we go, it changes, okay. And what that really does is it's giving you a little bit more sense of the trend and keeps you in it for longer. If you put it as an ATR factor of 1, it will switch a little bit faster. So it depends on whether you want to have a slower or faster ATR. So a lot of people use an ATR factor of 2, which is a good setup as well. So either one is good. And if you really want to keep into a longer period of time, you can change it to an ATR factor of 3 or higher, especially once you get into the longer time frames like the 4 hours. You can see, but it's actually pretty accurate as well. So it'll keep you in that buy. Then it will take you into that sell here, buy, but a little bit late. If you take a look here, right, there's a few candles. Then it gets you into this bearish trend here, but it also gets you into this bullish trend here. So again, depending upon what ATR factor you want to set up, but we've got it as an ATR factor of 1 as the default. We're going to change that back to 1 again, and you'll see how it changes. So just bear that in mind, the ATR factor is 1, and I would suggest that if you're trading in the 4 hours or under, use an ATR factor of 1. But if you're trading in a 4 hours or higher, use ATR factor of 2. So that's what that first super trend is. Now let's talk about the second super trend that we've actually got in here. And it's going to be this one here, which is the T3 super trend. So think of this as a special EMA that has got additional filters added into it. So this one will actually give you signals as well. So you can take a look at the ATR signals, and then you can take a look at the T3 signals. So with regards to the T3, I've actually added in S for short or L for long. So this is one is actually giving you some indication of the buy and sell signals as well. So I would mix this in with the ATR super trend and go with the overall trend direction. So you can see here when you've got double confirmation, it's going to be a strong downward trend. And if we go down to like a 30-minute time frame, which is where I like to take most of my signals, you will see the sell here, which would be a good one to be in, but you'd also get that L for long in at this point, but you wouldn't take that signal because you can take a look at the background. The ATR super trend is actually red, so always look for that double confirmation before you take an entry, but you want to make sure that the two super trends are actually aligning as well. Then you can see here you've got that long, and the ATR super trend is actually turned green, so that'd be a good one to enter. And then here you've got that sell signal, but then you've got that buy signal here, but the ATR is red. So hopefully that makes sense, right, with regards to the two super trends what I've actually got. Then additionally, as an additional entry signals, we do have the Cipher A built into this indicator. So we do have the blue diamonds, and we've got the red diamonds as well. And pretty much is what you want to do is take the diamond signals when both super trends are aligned. So that would be a good signal here. That could be a good signal here. And you've obviously got a signal here, but it's not 100% changed, so you maybe take the entrance at this point here. So either one, you can take the L for a long, or you can take the blue diamond, depends on if it's actually aligned. So that's pretty much it with regards to the Trinity Ultimate Cipher. It's actually very easy to understand with the two super trends and the buy and sell diamonds. And there is some additional settings, but honestly, I wouldn't be changing anything. Is you do have a different wave trend signals for the diamonds, but I wouldn't change it. I would keep it as default. So you could change the RSI source if you wanted to make it a little bit less sensitive. I've got it set to a default of 7. You could change it to 14. And again, I wouldn't change the cipher volatility settings as well. So anything to do with the cipher, which is the red and blue diamonds, I would not change those settings. Is if you did change the settings, you would just need to take a look at it and see how it works. I personally don't like to use them or adjust them. There is an additional smoothing factor that you can add into the T3, but again, as I wouldn't recommend using it, I think the default is good with how it's been set up with the Kaufman smoothing already applied. Because when I apply that smoothing, you can see here, it's essentially showing you that you're in a buy at this point. But you could actually wait and then actually take the ATR signals as additional buy. So it depends on how you want to play it. You can use that as your primary trend, then ATR as your secondary. But I personally like to see the wave trend like this. Now I have talked about adding in additional filters, and two additional filters that I'd recommend is going to be the Trinity CCI, this one, and then we'll also add in the Trinity MACD as well, which is going to be this one. So the Trinity CCI doesn't need any changes, it's good to go. The Trinity MACD requires some additional tweaks that I'd recommend. So as you go into it, go into Style, turn off bar color, and then also if you go into this plot, you've got two plot lines here. This plot line here you need to disable, then that way you can actually see the MACD signal lines as well. Then I like to go ahead and actually make some adjustments to the MACD colors. Is that rather than having a blue line going up, I like to change it to a green. I like to make it a little bit thicker as well. And then just with regards to the signal lines, I like to just change it and make it a little bit more obvious. And you could make this one a little bit thicker as well when you see the... So you can always look at the MACD and get confirmation when you see the two green lines, you're bullish, and when you see the two red lines, essentially you're bearish. And how I like to trade this on the 30 minutes or above is when you get your long signals like here, like actually let's use this one as an example. You've got a long signal here, although we talked about the ATR being red and you wouldn't take that as a signal. You could also look at your MACD and you can see the MACD is actually bearish, so that would be the validation, but that's not a valid long signal. And you can also take a look at your CCI and see that the CCI is actually not above 100. So again, it's not a valid signal. Then when we go into this one, we can say, okay, how do we know this is a valid signal? Well, the MACD has flipped bullish, and then you could also wait here. You could take the signal if you wanted at this point where both the lines have turned green, or you can wait until the CCI has crossed over the plus 100 line to confirm the bullish trend. So you can either take the entry here, or you could wait and get extra validation when it crosses over. And if we take a look back, again, different signals, you've got a long here at this point. Both super trends are green. MACD has confirmed it. And then you also get your signal here as well, where the CCI crosses over the plus 100. So you could take an early entrance, or you can wait until the bars close and you see that CCI crossing over. And the same applies to the bearish setup. So you've got a sell signal, both super trends are red. MACD is also flip red, and then you can actually see that you've got a crossover here as well. And at this point, where the CCI goes below minus 100. So that would be a valid setup here to go short, essentially. And this setup works for all time frames, and it's pretty easy to use. Now, one of the other things that I do like to do is that sometimes I don't like these lines here. So I'm just going to go up to this setting again. And then just disable these. And that way, it's a pretty clean looking indicator, removing those lines, and you can just go with the wave colors to see if it's bullish or bearish, and especially when you've got the ATR super trend in the background. And just with regards to the ATR super trend, you can actually make that a little bit more obvious as well. You can make that a little bit thicker line, and there we go. That'd be a good setup. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's pretty easy setup to use and apply, and it's a good setup to use. Is it'll keep you in trades longer, and it'll keep you from getting into bad trades essentially as well. But you need to follow the rules. Just make sure that you consider which ATR factor you want to use, whether it's a 1, 2, or 3 ATR, and then also make sure that both super trends are aligned with regards to the direction. And then also look at the MACD and CCI as well. And then if you use that, you should be getting a lot more winners than losers with this setup. So hit me up if you have any questions. I'll maybe think about some additional things that you can add into this later on. I think I've talked about adding VWAP, especially if it's below 1 hour. You may want to add that as an additional screen, where if you want to get into scalping, where you could add VWAP and take trades above VWAP or take trades below VWAP. So that could be an additional item that you want to consider as well, especially for scalping for probably less than 30-minute time frame, 30 minutes or less for scalping. And you may want to consider that. Let's take a quick look on 10 minutes. ICP. So here's actually probably a good setup as well. You've got a sell signal here. CCI's crossed over, and we can see MACD is bearish. So again, you would actually kind of take that signal, and that'd be a good signal to take. This one is actually a good example why you want to wait until CCI's cross over 100, because you've got both ATRs, both super trends are red. You got a good bearish candle here, and MACD has crossed over, but look at CCI. It is not crossed over that minus 100 line. So this is why you want to wait until you actually get confirmation before you enter and get into trades with a higher volume and confirmation. So this is why I prefer CCI. Is some folks maybe want to use RSI, but RSI wouldn't protect you from this kind of trade setup, where I think CCI actually does by using the plus 100 and minus 100 for the confirmation whether it's truly bearish or bullish. I mean, even with regards to this long here at this point, is that both super trends have actually flipped. You could consider taking this as a long. MACD is bullish, and then also you've got that CCI crossover as well. You could take this one up, and that could be a quick, I don't know, 4% move. If you, especially if you're using 3 or 4, 5x leverage, that could be a nice gain for the sake of like maybe waiting for the right setups. So hit me up with any questions with regards to the setup, and hopefully this makes sense to everyone.